in a beautiful, far-off kingdom, a foolish jester has unleashed a dark and terrible power. Cursing the land, he has turned it into a kingdom of death. It falls to you, the kingdom's last hero, to join together with your friends and allies and put a stop to his nefarious plans. Dragon Quest VIII is a JRPG where you play a good old-fashioned voiceless protagonist who must set out into the world on a grand adventure to try and stop this evil wizard named Dual Magus and prevent him from unleashing destruction on the world. Over the course of the game, you'll journey through the land, visiting various villages, fighting enemies, and meeting allies who will help you on your quest. Now, Dragon Quest VIII is pretty much the epitome of classic JRPG game design. Pretty much everything in the game has either been seen before in other games in the Dragon Quest series or other JRPGs that are its contemporaries. And that by itself probably doesn't sound like much of an endorsement, especially if you don't like JRPGs. But here's the thing, there is an advantage to creating a game where you're largely just imitating the games that have come previously. And that is, you can display an incredible amount of polish right out of the gate. There is a certain amount of convenience to be able to go into a Dragon Quest game knowing what to expect, and also having the satisfaction of knowing that your expectations will be realized. When you boot up Dragon Quest VIII, you know that you're in for a classic adventure story. You know that there's going to be lots of turn-based combat with all kinds of crazy, colorful, and weird enemies. You know that your characters are going to gain levels and unlock new skills. You know that there are going to be dungeons to explore with treasures to find. You know that there's going to be a large overworld map with plenty of little towns and villages to visit. Everything that you could reasonably expect out of a Dragon Quest game is already here, and it already works. And even after all of that, there is even still some minor innovation. Dragon Quest VIII now features an alchemy system where you can take various items and medicines that you get and combine them in order to get improved versions. There's also the return of monster training, where you can capture different monsters that you fight in the environment and then take them to an arena where they can battle for prizes. Even the turn-based combat has this new and refined psych-up system, where in exchange for sacrificing your turn, your character gets a burst of adrenaline that increases their power, and by sacrificing multiple turns, you can double, triple, or even quadruple your next attack or special ability. There's a new little risk-reward system that's very welcome. Now, I suppose I should mention that despite my praise, Dragon Quest VIII is not perfect. Few things are. There are still some minor setbacks here. For instance, the map only contains two modes, zoom in and zoom out, and doesn't have a whole lot of useful information otherwise. Another example is the alchemy system, which contains an unnecessary amount of prompts, even if I just want to make the same damn potion I've already made a dozen times over. Or how, even though this is the 8th game in the series, after several generations of consoles, they still feel the need to hide your experience points behind a completely separate menu that's only available when you visit temples. So try and figure that one out. Essentially, all of my complaints could have probably been solved by one person taking another pass at this game and cleaning up the UI, but hell, even then, most of these complaints are minor. Dragon Quest VIII is one of the most traditional RPGs of its generation, and I mean that as a very sincere compliment. There's something very satisfying about a game where you can just sit down and not have to worry about memorizing a bunch of new details or system mechanics, and just throw a boomerang at some slime monsters. Ah, delightful. So yeah, I give Dragon Quest VIII 4 out of 4 stars, and definitely recommend it to anybody who's either a fan of the series or just a fan of polished, traditional RPGs in general. Well then, thanks for listening. And now I'm off for another day of adventure.
Listen carefully. Enough is enough. You won't be able to marry Princess Medea until you prove your worth.
Well, I don't care about getting married anyway.
You're making a mistake, Charmles. I hear Princess Medea is, well, boom! You understand what I'm saying?
Oh man, I picked the right outfit for this cutscene.